Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Uh, we've got the where's everybody from out of the way. But if you are just joining us, please share where you are from in the chat. We have an hour blocked off for today, but we'll try to get done a bit earlier to give you some time back in your day. Today we'll be talking about grooming KPIs and why they're so important. So, KPIs, they help owners and managers understand how well the business is actually performing and where there's room to grow or improve. They can help you see what's working and what isn't. They can show you if you're making money, how your team is performing, and how happy your clients are. So with the right KPIs, you can spot trends, make smarter decisions, and help your business grow with confidence. It's like having a dashboard for your shop, so you're not flying blind. And so there's no better person in this world to be talking KPIs with than my good friend, Joe Zuccarello.
Hey Brian, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Appreciate you joining us today. So Joe is the president of Paragon School of Pet Grooming, the leading pet professional development and education solutions company. He's also a freelance pet industry consultant. He hosts the popular Hey Joe podcast. He's been in the space for over 40 years and has been invited to present to grooming professionals and pet industry professionals or pet businesses all around the world. So, Joe, would love for you to share with the audience a little bit more about yourself and your journey in the pet care space.
Yeah, well, again, thank you to you, Brian, and the team at MoeGo for hosting this. I'm always very excited to talk with the people that are attending this live because I think attending something live, you have the opportunity to interact and to engage. But I thank MoeGo for the opportunity to present really a super important topic. Before we hop into that, just a little bit about me. There's a lot of names on the list of attendees that I recognize, but there's also a lot more that I haven't met yet. So it's great to meet you. Brian, you're right. In February, I celebrated my 40th anniversary in the pet industry, which is pretty remarkable. I spent the first 22 years on the pet services side, so I had an opportunity to lead a very successful chain of deluxe pet resorts, full service pet care facilities. We had, at the time when I was there, helped grow them to 7 facilities. We could board 650 dogs a night, 250 dogs a day in doggy daycare. I had 60 dog groomers that worked for me, 60 dog groomers. We did 100,000 grooming appointments a year. 22 dog trainers, Cadillac stretch limousines doing pickup and delivery all over the area. So needless to say, it was an incredible time. The first 22 years in pet services, the next 10 years in the pet product space. So I got a chance to lead the new product development and innovation team at a pet grooming and dental products company. And then for the last 7 years, I really have the honor of leading an incredible team of grooming skills development educators at the Paragon School of Pet Grooming. And as you mentioned, I'm also a freelance consultant in the pet industry. I've been doing that for well over 15 years. And I just love being able to share my experiences, really my failures with a lot of people that I've been able to recognize now that I've failed and being able to turn those into successes and maybe help people from experiencing the same failures the first time around by learning from mine. So this topic is near and dear to my heart because to your point, if you don't know what to measure in your business so that you take a temperature check, a health check to know what the well-being or the financial health of your business is, it's sort of like driving down a freeway without your headlights on at night, right? There's a good chance you're eventually going to run into either off the road or hit something really hard that's going to cause you a lot of pain. So let's see those things coming. And the very first thing is how do we identify the key performance indicators, those top level goals from a strategy perspective that'll help keep you on track.
Great, love it. Well, Joe, again, appreciate your time. For those who don't know me, my name is Brian Krotine. I'm the senior manager of strategic partnerships here at MoeGo. I get to work with awesome partners like Joe and Paragon. I've been in the tech space for over 10 years. And my focus is helping pet businesses leverage technology to enhance customer experience and grow revenue. And for those of you who might not be familiar with MoeGo, we're a leading pet care management platform built specifically for mobile grooming, grooming salons, boarding and daycare, multi-service facilities, you name it. We provide an all-in-one platform, so marketing tools, automation, customer engagement tools, data-driven reporting and insights, all in one platform, again, to help pet service businesses of all sizes scale with confidence. So everybody from a mom and pop shop to a large enterprise, and we're using the latest technology to provide an incredible experience for the pet business owner, the pet owner, and their pets. So in terms of agenda, this is what we'll cover today. So first, we're going to get into some very basic definitions. What are KPIs? Why do they matter? We'll discuss some key grooming industry benchmarks. We'll talk financial management and accounting and KPIs that you should be tracking. Next, we'll talk about setting goals and budgets, getting the most from your grooming team, and how a software like MoeGo can help you stay on top of your KPIs. And as questions come up, please share them with us in the chat so you don't forget them. We'll be sure to get to them. We also have a Q&A piece at the end, so plenty of time for questions and all that good stuff. So. All right. So Joe, let's start with the basics. So what are KPIs, key performance indicators? So at the most basic level, KPIs are simple metrics that track your business success. But Joe, tell us a little bit more about KPIs and why they're so important.
Yeah, well, it would shock a lot of people to know what I know, and that is there's a lot of pet services businesses that are very successful who don't have budgets, that don't set goals, that don't measure some of these critical metrics in their business on a regular basis. And there's a variety of different reasons for that. But I'll probably throw out some Joeisms along the way. And the very first one is I got taught this by somebody very, very wise as I was growing up as a young manager, as a young leader. And what he taught me was what gets measured gets done. What gets measured gets done. And that is very true, right? A lot of people will say, well, what you don't know doesn't, won't kill you. Yeah, yes, it will. This is the opposite effect. You need to know these things so that you can spot trends and remedy problems, fix errant progressions or errant numbers, or celebrate successes. Right? It's not about catching somebody doing it wrong or protecting your business from some sort of backslide, but how about we celebrate successes? How about we figure out a way to prioritize those monies and reallocate those monies to something like investments or expansion or higher wages for our team? How do we know what we're able to do without studying KPIs? So KPIs, key performance indicators. It's essentially what are those metrics? What are those things that we need to pay attention to frequently? So again, as Brian said, offload those thoughts, offload those questions, put them in the chat. We're going to circle back to them. Don't let your brain get consumed by waiting to ask a question. Put it in there. We're going to come back to it. So load it up. That's your challenge as an attendee today. Load up the webinar chat boxes and give us some things that we can talk to moving forward. The very first permission I'm going to give you is it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to say, I have no idea what that means. Or I don't measure that, or I don't. It's okay even to politely push back, right? I've heard it all. I've heard it all. If you say, Joe, I don't know if I agree with that, that's fine. Put it in there. Put it in the chat. Let's unpack that along the way. Especially to everybody that's in that. Everybody's in attendance today who knows me, knows that I'm a pretty straight shooter. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm just gonna tell you, listen, if your business is doing these things, there's a good chance you have a happy grooming business. Okay, so that's what we're going to unpack today. Uh, uh, Again, KPIs, maybe you didn't know what KPI even stood for before this session. But again, it's all about maximizing productivity and profitability, and for you, your business, and the people that work for you. So let's hop right in. Okay, so if you want sort of the cake box version of KPIs, what are the benchmarks, right? What does it look like when a business, and especially grooming business, is doing it well and doing a business healthy? Now, Brian, you and I talked about this in show prep. Each one of these items that are on this sheet, on this particular slide, for all of the attendees out there, there's a lot of information that gets to roll up underneath these, right? So we could be here for days talking about these, what affects these. But what we're talking about today is, let's just introduce the healthy metrics. And if you kept these front and center, everything that you do in your business, run by this list and say, is it in accordance with, does it contribute, or does it detract from these KPIs? The very first one is, if you have one grooming station or you have 6 grooming stations, the average in the country amount of revenue that we can expect from each of these grooming stations is somewhere between 125 to $150,000 annually. Now, I know businesses that are 150 to $200,000 annually. It just depends on the quality of the grooming, the price, the average ticket price, which is going to come up here in a minute, or even sometimes location. But I'll tell you, if I bet there's 90% of the businesses that if you aimed for 125 to $150,000 annually, no matter where you're located, it would be a vast improvement to where maybe you are right now. So there's a variety of different ways that we get to that number. Second key benchmark, or the second key performance indicator, is the business wants to keep more of the money that we bring in than the money that we pay out. See, I didn't graduate with a calculus degree or a trigonometry degree or a geometry degree or any of the ometries or whatever. Listen, I'm all about basic math. And the basic math about business is money in, money out, money left. Right? So we already talked about the money in. Let's talk a little bit about the money left. We want to be able to keep more of that money than we're paying out. Our goal in a healthy grooming business is to keep 60% of the money that we bring in gross profit. Now, what does that mean? Gross profit means after we've paid out wages, right? Commissions or salary or hourly or however that mix looks like. Our goal is to keep 60% gross before we get into shampoo costs and rent and lighting and electric and all of those things that come by way of just doing normal day-to-day business or existing as a business. I'm talking, you get $1, we want to keep 60 cents of that. Now, I know sometimes you might be thinking, well, how are we going to be able to do that if we're paying out 50% commission? Believe me, there's a recipe to being able to do that, because it's also not just about commissions, right? It's not just about commission. So we're gonna unpack this a little bit in a little bit. So the other part about that is we want add-ons, right? Add-ons should be the most money per minute revenue source that we have in our entire business. So it makes sense that we want to have as much money coming in from add-ons as possible. So these add-ons, these extra services that get added to a full service bath or a full service groom, yeah, to have a happy, healthy, profitable business where we're maximizing everybody's income potential, we should strive to be at 75% or better in extra services. And again, I know this is going to be firing a lot of questions. Well, how do we get there? How do we get there? Today's conversation is the introduction of KPIs. Like I said at the beginning of this slide, there's a lot of information that comes that needs to be understood and known and put into practice to get to these numbers, but it's doable. In fact, one of my clients in the Houston area, they have 2 locations in the Houston area. Their average add-ons for extra services are 120 to 140%. 120 to 140%. So is it doable? Yes, absolutely, it's doable. The other KPI is, we need to make sure that we're staffed. We've got to make sure that we are staffed at least 80% of the time that we're open. What I mean by that is if you've got one grooming station, do you have a grooming producer at that grooming station at least 80% of the hours that you're open? This is a major fail in a lot of businesses because you look at, let's say I've got 3 grooming stations and you say I've got 3 grooming producers, I'm fully staffed. No, not if you're open 6 or 7 days a week and your facility's open 12 hours a day or 10 hours a day, because there's no way that those 3 people are working 80% of those available hours. So you're not fully staffed, even though you might have the same number of grooming producers as you do grooming stations. That doesn't equal fully staffed. Okay. All right. And then the last piece on here is we have to know what our average ticket price is. I ask this all the time. I like asking this in elevators at conferences. They'll say, "Oh, who are you with?" Well, we kind of get that elevator pitch out of the way. And they're like, "Oh, well, what's the most important thing about grooming, or what should I know?" I said, "Well, do you know what your average ticket price is?" "Well, it's about." Listen, if you start answering my question with "it's about," then you don't know what your average ticket price is. It's so vital because it dictates everything that we set for our goals and our budgets. Go to the next slide, Brian.
Yeah, definitely. Joe, we have a couple questions. Do you want to get to these now, or should we save them for the?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So let's see,
Okay.
real quick. Let's see what's appropriate for right now. Recording me. Okay, that's you. Thanks. Michelle. Oh, thanks for the permission. You're welcome, Michelle. I don't ever have to give you permission. Brad says, does that correlate to mobile as well? I don't know what that part was, but this number here, I will tell you, Brad, that typically, let's just real quickly translate for mobile. I will tell you that mobile typically charges about 40% more per ticket than brick and mortar, right? But sometimes can do less appointments in a day than one grooming station can do just because you've got driveway hops. So it all really depends on how well you do with cluster appointment making and your schedule management. Again, grooming gross profitability. Here's a little tip I want to leave for everybody, right? I understand, and I think one of the questions was, how is gross profit greater than 60% of commissions or 50 to 60% paid to grooming? First off, anything above 50% is probably spending too much, right? So I know that's a little bit of a bomb to drop, right? But listen, I could pay you 60% of zero, and it's still the result is still zero. I know groomers that make 40% make over $100,000 a year. Why? Because the average ticket price is so healthy. Why? Because our average ticket price is so healthy. Because our extra services are so strong. Okay, so these are and our base pricing is priced so strong. So my point is, it's not all about commission. It's about the actual earnings of the groomer, right? Of our grooming staff. So anyway, that answers a little bit. That answers a little bit of the questions there. So Dale says 75% of what? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me clarify. Extra services. This means that 75% of your customers or more order at least one add-on. Could be a dental service, could be a coat conditioner, could be nail filing, could be, a shedding service, something like that. So more than 75% of your customers order at least one. Here's some real other math to qualify that. Let's say Brian and I were 2 customers that walk in with our 2 dogs to your grooming business. And I come in, I don't get any add-ons. I don't get any extra services for my pet. But Brian, he loves spoiling his pet, so he got 2. So the average between us is 100%. Two extra services ordered from 2 different appointments, right? Not from each appointment, from the collective of 2. That's 100%, right? So all of these metrics are made very easy to track with programs like MoeGo. And we're going to get to that in a little while about how you mine the data. Okay. Josh said you're measuring gross profit as revenue minus labor. Yes. Again, net profit, net income, EBITDA, that all comes downstream after you have to figure in the costs of doing business, like shampoo costs, rent costs, electric, water, all of those things. Okay. All right. Financial versus managerial accounting. Yeah. So this is when we're talking about KPIs, when we're talking about how do we account for our business, you have financial accounting, Financial accounting, again, just like a majority, not a majority, but a fair number, a big number, probably too big of a number of businesses in our industry don't have budgets or goals. It would probably shock you to know that many don't have financial advisors. They don't have CPAs. They're not, they maybe get their ending month numbers in through QBO or something like that, right? QuickBooks Online or other platforms. Um, what you get as far as a balance sheet or a profit and loss statement, an income statement, or whatever those are your financial reports. Those are financial accounting. And a lot of times you don't even get the month end numbers until a week or two after the month is ended. You can't do anything to save that month. So we need reports like some of the reports, the examples we're going to share in a little bit, but you need the managerial accounting counterbalance. So you still need those financial reports, but what you need is weekly or biweekly reports that you're running in real time. In real time. In fact, there are some reports that you should run on a Monday from last week to be able to tell, did you hit your appointment goal? Did you hit your average ticket price goal? Did you hit your revenue goal? Did you hit your rebooking goal? Did you hit these goals last week? Well, if you're measuring on Monday of the following week, you still actually are giving yourself a chance to make up for that deficit. And maybe you had a killer week. Maybe it was an awesome week and you're trending ahead of your goals. Now that you have goals, maybe you're trending ahead of your goals. Gives you an opportunity to celebrate those accomplishments with your staff as well. So I just want to call attention to there is a real difference between financial reporting and managerial reporting. We'll go to the next slide, Brian. All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So talking about reporting, right? Digging into the data. What should we be tracking? Now you said you might be saying, well, Joe, you already told us all of our KPIs. No, those are the goals, right? That's the end result. That's what we're seeking as an end result. What are the things we can be measuring in bite-sized pieces along the way so that we know if we're on track or off track of hitting our goal? It would be similar like if Brian said, Joe, how do I drive from San Diego to St. Louis to come and see you? And I said, well, you just go east. Just head east, right? He's gonna say, okay. He's gonna get his little Boy Scout compass out because Brian, I'm sure you're a Boy Scout along the way, right? He gets his little Boy Scout compass out, right? And he just starts driving east. How accurate is he gonna be? He's accurate in the direction. So let's say he's got his KPI of his trip being east, but he needs to know I'm going to go from this freeway to that freeway. I'm going to stop at this gas station. I'm going to spend the night in this hotel. I'm going to do these things. So how does he navigate successfully to get from San Diego to St. Louis to see his buddy Joe, right? It's the same thing here. So we have to be able to dig into the data. We got to be able to pull this information from our program, right? Like MoeGo allows you to do. We need to be able to pull this information from our program to measure appointment volume. Yeah. How many appointments did we do? How many appointments of each type did we do? So many times I'll start working with a consulting client and I'll go in and say, how many appointments of each type did you do last year? And I get the deer in the headlights look. Or I'll get, oh, I know that. Here's all my appointments and here's my total revenue for grooming. Great. How often did those customers come in? What was their frequency? Oh, now you're asking for something. In many cases, we don't measure. We might have a good gut feeling, right? We might have a good gut feeling. But if Brian's gut feeling was, I think I'm heading east, he may be heading off path, off track. Okay. All right. Another one, average ticket price. Average ticket price is relatively simple to figure. We take the total grooming revenue of our full service appointments divided by the number of appointments for those full service visits. And we come up with average ticket price. It could be anywhere from I've seen $65 to $160. I've seen it all. Everybody has a starting point and everybody has a future self of where we want to get to. So Why is average ticket price so important? Because if we're gonna set a goal, right? If we're gonna set a goal, we're gonna say we have X number of stations that can produce X number of grooming appointments per day, which is X number of grooming appointments per week, which is X number of grooming appointments per year, times our average ticket price, times our average ticket price. That's why average ticket price is so important. And what's brilliant is when we know what our average ticket price is, if we say, oh, okay, well, if I can be at extra services number of 25%, 40%, 50%, 75%, I'm going to blow Joe's number out of the water. I'm going to be at 100% of my customers are going to spend an extra $5, $10, $15. Tell me how that affects your revenue. Your average ticket price elevates considerably without even having to elevate the number of appointments you get in. Of course, we always want more appointments, but just doing more appointments for less money, it might be more sensible to do less appointments for more money. Okay. The third one, groomer efficiency and rebooking rates. Groomer efficiency. Do you know the average time that it takes for your grooming staff to the hour to perform their average full service haircut, their average full service bath, right? Most of us don't know this. I would want to know this about my business. I did know this about my businesses, and I have helped my consulting clients know this about their business down to the 100th of an hour. Yeah. Do you know that the average groomer with average grooming training should be able to do their own dog start to finish in about an hour and 15 minutes, 1.25 hours? So if I know that Betty Pet Groomer, because I study this and I sit down and I talk to her every month about her efficiency, if I know that she's at 1.25 hours per pet, I know then how many pets I can book her in a given day without getting her to feeling burned out or risking injury or violating safety protocols. You see, these numbers are not only about maximizing the health of our business, but it's maximizing and elongating the health and prosperity of our service providers, these grooming producers. But if we don't know these numbers, they can get in the weeds in a hurry. Okay. Rebooking rates. Do you know what your percentage of rebooking is? What I mean by rebooking is who today, at the end of their service with you today, books their future appointment. How many? Right? If you have 100 customers visit you this week, what percentage felt good enough about your services to reserve their future grooming appointment before they left today? If you don't know that number, we need to know that number. Why does that number come up or come in handy? Why is that so important? Gosh, I could go on for a whole seminar about why that number is so important. But I'll tell you, do you know that every one that rebooks is one less phone call? One less online booking request, right? We're trying to reduce the amount of time we spend on wasted things if we can use technology or some preemptive, proactive activities, proactive actions, right? Okay. So rebooking rates, and to even make it more fun, how many of your existing customers rebooked versus how many of your new customers rebooked? If you have a high level of your new customers rebooking, that means then you're sending them out the door with something so good quality that you have them now. They're ready to give you their business. They're committing to bringing their pet in again in 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever that interval is. Okay. All right. And do we know, again, what to track for success? Digging in. This is the data we've got to be able to mine from, to be able to mine from the program, right? And the program's got to accommodate this. And that's one thing I like about MoeGo is that it does accommodate this data mining. The data's in there. Believe me, I've challenged Brian. I said, okay, man, can they find this out? Can they find that out? And remember that old the old commercial? I don't know if it was like A1 sauce or something, right? It's in there, right? Or Prego, it's in there, right? It's in there. We just need to be able to pull it out. So the last one I've got on here is customer retention. Do we know how many people are coming back? Do we know how many people no-showed last week and no-called? They could be potential defectors. What are we doing to call them and find out if everything's okay? New client acquisition. You know how much effort you spend getting new customers? You spend a lot of attention, you burn a lot of calories getting new customers, right? We should fight to keep them. How well are we doing that? How much does it cost you for new client acquisition? These are the things, and I know this is a lot, and you're like, dude, you're blowing my mind. I just want to go and feed and play with and groom dogs. I get all of that, but that's why it's so important for you to know what you need to measure and for a program to be able to deliver that to you in a distilled version so that maybe when we work together on a consultative basis and it's time for you to grow your business and grow your grooming team, I can tell you what the story is from those reports. I can read you this, I can read you the report like a book because that's what I've done my entire career. But we've got to be able to measure that. So that's okay. Don't freak out. We got you. Right. But these are the things that make a big difference in your business. Next slide. All right. So smart and simple ways to set goals and budgets, right? So there's one way that we can set a goal for our grooming business, or really any part of our business, but specifically for grooming, we could say, all right, we're going to look at history and we're just going to pull a PFA number, right? A plucked from air. That's another Joeism, a plucked from air number. And we're going to say, okay, well, we did $500,000 last year in top line grooming sales. I want to grow by 10%. So I want 550 this year. Great. How does that translate to actually making that happen? Or we could go back to my KPIs now that you know what those are. And if you're going to be staffed 80% of the time and you have 4 grooming stations, well, you could do the math, especially if you know what each grooming station, each producer at each one of those grooming stations, because you study their efficiency. You see how all of this is kind of coming together? So you could tell, you could make some assumptions that each one of those grooming stations is going to generate X number of appointments per day based on your hours open, your groomer producers, efficiency rating, all of those things, your average ticket price. And you could say our capacity opportunity is X. Great. Our capacity, it's just like manufacturing. How many bottles can you fill an hour? How many cars can you paint coming on the assembly line in an hour? It's the same thing. It's production, just grooming production, right? So we're going to take those same skills of measuring those businesses and carry those forward into grooming production. See, that's what's brilliant about grooming. Grooming, we can tie production to an individual. You can't do that in lodging or daycare or reception, but we can tie an individual's grooming production to not only the number of appointments, but the revenue that they generated as an individual for the business. So all of that, those statistics are in there. We just have to pull them out and hear the story they're telling us. So if we're gonna set goals based on capacity, then we get to say, okay, in a 100% world, our business would generate X number of appointments at X dollar amount per appointment, and you do the math forward. But then you could say, listen, I want to smash my goal. I want to be able to smash this goal. So I'm going to say 80%, 75%. Does that get you to that 550 number? Maybe more. Okay. All right. So that's a historical analysis approach. And also a little bit of the setting team and individual revenue goals. The percentage-based growth targets, yeah. I mean, you could just say we're going to grow by this percentage, and we're going to take this percentage of price increase, and we're going to take this percentage of average ticket increase. But boy, I just really caution you because most of the time, that's just not your reality. It's just not your reality to just take a blanket percentage increase goal. I love the capacity-based goal setting because that teamed up with your grooming producer's potential, I think you have the best chance of getting from San Diego to St. Louis safely following that plan. All right. Okay, let's go to the next slide. We'll get through the slides and then we'll come back to the questions.
Hey, Joe, what's the simplest tweak somebody could make for their business to increase revenue or increase efficiency?
Yeah, too simple. When I say simple, these are the most
Yeah, yeah,
impactful. The most
impactful. Yeah,
impactful. One, do a better job at recommending add-ons, those extra services. Because again, it's more money per minute. It's the most profitable dollar that we can bring in on that money inside of the money in, money out, money left equation. The second thing is we've got to make sure that we're fully staffed. We've got to make sure those tables are begging to do business. They're sitting there. You're paid to rent. You've paid the light bill. You've paid the water bill. But yet, on any given Wednesday, I can walk into your facility at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and see one cold table. That's what we call that, cold table. That doesn't have a grooming producer at it. Do you know that that table's probably costing you between 60, 80, sometimes even $100 an hour in revenue opportunity? And if you're mobile, this is wasted time between hops. This is inefficient inability to book cluster appointments, to minimize the hops between driveways, the time that it takes to drive between appointments. It's similar. Even a mobile, you have a capacity that you could set a capacity goal around. So those would be the two things: fully staffed and do a much better job at recommending add-ons.
great. Appreciate that. Yeah, shameless plug here, MoeGo, plenty of upsell opportunities from within the platform. You think about online booking, we provide plenty of upsell opportunities in the online booking flow with images. And you were mentioning van route optimization. That's also something that that MoeGo handles pretty well in the platform. So had to give a little bit of a plug there.
And really, MoeGo, not MoeGo. I mean, obviously, I'm going to promote MoeGo because it's the stage that I'm on, right? And I mean, MoeGo does an excellent job at all of that. But be critical of whatever software solution you have. Is it helping you mine the data that you're putting in? Is it even allowing you to put the right data in? Right? I don't know if you're familiar, but there's an accounting term, GIGO, right? GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. If what goes in is not detailed enough, you're never going to have, it's going to be fool's gold. You're not going to be mining the riches that you need to from the data that's going in if the data that's going in is either incomplete or not accurate, right? All right. All right, getting the most from your grooming team. So, how to measure groomer productivity? Again, it starts with, and when we say groomers here, you'll hear me use the term grooming producer, and that's going to be important because I'm going to come back and we're going to answer Josh's question and a couple of other questions about commission and versus salary versus hourly. Grooming producer. So this is everybody that participates in your grooming business. How to measure groomer productivity? Really, it depends on a couple of key pieces of data. One, how many appointments did that grooming producer generate in any period of time study? Number one, right? We got to have that. Number two, we've got to measure their average, or we've got to measure the total amount of revenue that those appointments equaled. And number three, and this is where a lot of people fail until I tell them the importance of this. Number three, we can never measure productivity and efficiency without first having how many hours did they work. And yes, that means all staff clocks in and out. Not in and out for each dog. That's not necessary, right? And really not realistic, right? You'll drive yourself crazy because here comes another Joeism. Be careful what you create because you're going to have to manage it, right? So I'm okay if they clocked in the morning and clocked out in the afternoon. That gets us close enough, right? It's sort of like the effectiveness of horseshoes and hand grenades. Let's get close enough, right? Okay. All right. So how do we measure groomer productivity? We need those three key pieces of data. How many appointments did they do during the period of study? How much? There's going to be a fourth one. I'm sorry. How much did we? How many appointments did they do during the period of study? What was their total revenue that they generated for those appointments during that same period of study? How many hours did they work during that same period of study? And the fourth piece, so we can measure wages to sales ratio. How much did we pay them during that period of time? You get those four pieces, I can tell you some incredible things about your business if you put those 4 pieces for each one of your grooming producers in front of me. Strategies for improvement and skill development. The very first thing is sit down and talk to your grooming staff one-on-one 10 minutes a month. Commit 10 minutes a month to cover those 4 pieces. Because again, if you maximize their income potential, you're going to maximize your, if you maximize their income potential, you're going to maximize your income potential. So that 10-minute meeting, standing 10-minute meeting, you sit down and you first start off and say, how are you doing? Open it up. How are you doing? Remember, you only get 10 minutes. Everybody's going to follow that rule, but you're going to do this every month. And you might even say something like, last month, when we looked at your efficiencies, we noticed your efficiency factors, right? Your statistics. When we looked at that, we both recognized that there's money to be made if we can improve your speed by 10 minutes per appointment or whatever. We also identified the obstacles you felt that were getting in your way from doing that, and you committed as an individual. What is it that you're going to commit to doing to removing or relieving those obstacles? And I, as your employer, said, here's what I'm going to do, right? It could be something equipment based. It could be the tub doesn't drain fast enough. Whatever that is, you lean in, they lean in, and every month you see, has it made an improvement? I'm telling you, that is one of the number one strategies for improvement and skill development. Because then if you identify that it is actually uh, 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 getting comfortable and getting more experience, getting more practice, or maybe they're failing in the fundamentals of grooming. Maybe they need to visit our team at Paragon and sharpen those skills. Okay. All right. So the last one is incentives for increasing performance. If especially if they're on commission, great. They're gonna make more money because they have a certain share. They have a certain revenue share of every ticket that comes in. The other piece is even hourly people. Maybe it's an incentive per dog, right? So the more dogs they do, they're influencing their average hourly rate by doing more dogs. I'm a huge fan of paying out money when I've made money, spending money when you make money, right? Not before, but I love spending it after I've already got it. That's why commission works pretty well. Hourly and salary, you're always having to hunt down and make sure you're getting your money's worth from them, right? It works. It's just a little bit more management on your end. Um, Working with it for any of you that have reception teams, oh my gosh, I would love to talk to you about reception incentives. I mean, there's fun things like add-ons bingo, right? I mean, these are partners. These are people that are really, they have a huge influence on the amount of money that your grooming producers make. Why wouldn't we want to carve them in on it? Right? Okay. All
Love
right.
it. All right. And how does MoeGo help you stay on top of these KPIs, right? So MoeGo, we provide real-time reporting from within the platform. We provide automated financial tracking. So we sync with QuickBooks to help you track your cash flow seamlessly. We provide groomer performance insights, provide smart scheduling features, and we even provide our own bookkeeping services. So a human in the loop to allow for real-time financial visibility and bookkeeping from within your platform. So if you have any questions about anything KPI related as it pertains to MoeGo, happy to answer those questions after the webinar. But had to throw in a little MoeGo plug there. um, all right. And if you are interested in learning more about MoeGo, you can visit our website, www.moego.pet. And if you do /Paragon, it'll take you to our website where, again, you can learn more about MoeGo and see a demo. You can also email me at brian@moego.pet and I'll get you taken care of. Or if you just have any questions, right? Happy to help in any way that I can. And
All
Joe.
right, shameless Paragon and consulting plug, and then we're gonna get to questions and answers. So don't leave because there's some juicy ones out there. All right, so for Paragon, listen, my team at Paragon would love to help you overcome your staffing challenges by helping you grow your own groomers. Look at it this way: Paragon makes growing your future groomers easy. So there's people out there I know that there's several of you that are in this chat that have used Paragon to help you grow your team. Obviously, if there's anybody who wants to put a shout out to your experience with Paragon, but we love helping you overcome those staffing challenges because the reality is, and I deal a lot in realities. I don't like fairy tales and wishing, hoping, praying, whatever. The reality is there's not enough professional groomers to go around. And the only way that you take control of your staffing issues is by growing your own staff, and Paragon helps make that easy for you. So we're going to make it financially easier for you as well. If you enroll a student in Paragon, you can use MoeGo 100 at checkout, so that you can, it'll save you $100 on their enrollment. So whether you use that once or you use that for one student or two students or three students, however many you want, feel free to use that on as many students as you can enroll. So it doesn't run out. You can only use it once per enrollment, but as many student enrollments as you want to do. The consulting part, the Hey Joe Pet Business Coach, I would love to give you a free 30-minute consultation. And it can be any of these topics. I'm sure that you're going to be left like, okay, I want to know more about this. Let's talk. I want to get to know you, your business, and how I may help you better. So you can email me at joez@petsmb.com, and we can follow up after the session. And if you want to take a real quick snapshot of this with your phone so that you get both websites, maybe do that, and make sure to land on there. So there's a lot of exciting things going on in both Paragon and Hey Joe.
Love it. All right, Joe. So
We
we
have a
have
lot
some
of
great
questions.
questions. Yeah. Let's get to them.
All right.
I'm in as
So
well.
how
Yeah.
about if you want to just start at the top, right? Or closer to the top, right? Which I think Sarman was the first like new
Yep.
question.
Questions about bathers.
Yeah. So question on bathers. Have you seen businesses successfully charge groomers the cost of the bathers they use? Okay. So I will tell you. Now, you can run your business however you want to run your business. But in the most successful businesses that not only that I've led, but I've helped to grow, everybody does their own dog start to finish. Everybody does their own dog start to finish, right? That's groomers and what we call a Paragon groom techs. Groom techs. Remember I said grooming producers is sort of this overreaching title of everybody that works in the grooming department. We've got groomers and we've got groom techs. Groom techs do full service baths, shed control, trimming the Grinch feet on like golden retrievers, sanitary trims, shed control. I think I already said dematting, brushing, bathing, all of that. What they do not do is the all over body haircut, the all over body haircut and the bath and brush out and everything that's necessary for those are always then given to groomers. That's their superpower. So you've got groomers, or you've got groom techs, and you've got groomers. Everybody does their own dog start to finish. One of the operational challenges that evaporates immediately is how do we pay our groom techs? We don't need the groomers to be paying or sacrifice part of their money for bathers. And I mean, that's just, but there's a lot of moving parts. It's a lot of variables that be careful what you create because you don't want to manage it. For me, that complicates the whole compensation package. It also eliminates operational challenges like they bathe the dogs out of order, they're not brushed out properly, they're still wet, they're not dry properly, their face is still dirty, their butt is still greasy, maybe the other way around, right? All of those operational challenges evaporate immediately. Sharing tips, right? Those are all gone when everybody does their own dog start to finish. And a big one, if there's an issue with the groom, and you've got multiple hands on the same dog on the same day, you know what you get? You get a little bit of a blame game going on. Well, that happened because she didn't, he didn't, they didn't. Well, that goes away completely if it was just everybody does their own dog start to finish. So that Sarman would eliminate the need to have to figure out a way to have groomers successfully paying for the bathers. Okay. Will MoeGo reporting actually be out on beta? I don't know that answer, so that's free. That's you, Brian.
Yeah, it should be. I will confirm and get back to you, Kyle. Yep.
All right. Brad says this is super tough for mobile as so many clients say their dogs are not matted. I'm thinking it's supposed to be matted. Then you show and the session runs 30 minutes long. We charge an additional care uplift, but average time per grooming varies widely. Are you suggesting we use an average? Um, well, I mean, obviously, when the more frequently you groom these dogs, the less matted they're going to be most of the time, right? If you have sort of this repeat offender that the appointments are spread so far apart that, yeah, you might have to learn your lesson one time of running late for that dog, but maybe you adjust the average time to complete that dog in their pet profile by a little bit in order to account for that. What I'm saying is you're going to use averages based on true historical data, right? At first, you can make some projections for new customers. But once you have that historical data, then my recommendation to you is always use averages based on historical data. Blended average is what I meant. Yeah. So yeah, I think again, if you have repeat offenders and you should be charging because we all should be paid for our time, right? In grooming. So if you have repeat offenders and you're going to have to charge that amount, you're going to need to leave that much space for that particular appointment. So I get those challenges, and there are some nuances with mobile. I agree. Let's see, Josh, in order to get to, whoops, what happened? Oh, in order to get to 60% gross profit, what is your ideal commission per groom? What is the target daily wage that you set for your groomers? Listen, I'm not a big fan of paying my grooming staff any more than the house gets, right? So it's all about managing to a principal. So my top line number in my business, again, totally your business, but the top line amount of what you have to decide is what is the maximum amount of every dollar in are you willing to pay for dollar out in order to give you enough dollar left, right? So if you start with 50%, which okay, right? But if you say I'm never going to pay over 50%, then you're managing toward that ceiling, right? That top line or that top end number that you're willing to pay out. Okay. So if that's the case, then you pay 50%. But let's say you have, oh, I just introduced this new team member called Groom Techs, right? Groom Techs are a major influence in the profitability of our business, because now if we put in a legitimate team of groom techs who are doing all of those bath dogs and those bath breeds, and we're giving groomers groom dogs to do, and we're giving the baths to the full service baths to groom techs to do, groom techs on average make about or cost you about half of what a groomer earns. So it's real simple math. And they both should generate the same revenue in a day. And I can show you this when we have a lot more time to work together, but I'll show you the math. It's there. So a trained groom tech and a trained groomer should generate about the same amount of revenue in a day. And if this person makes 50%, the groomer makes 50%, and the groom tech makes the equivalent of, maybe it's hourly, no more than 25%, well, then your wages to sales ratio is about 39%, and you're keeping 61% gross profit. There's your quick math lesson, and I can show you more details if we work together. But I did that all day long. A lot of my clients are doing that all day long, and it's working really, really well. And there's tons more reasons why you should have groom techs on your staff as well. Okay. All right. Let's see. Any tips for getting employees to care about productivity when they don't necessarily care about their income? Yeah. You're going to be measuring their hours per pet. And if that doesn't hit the benchmark, then the longer they're taking, the more they're costing you an opportunity cost for that table. Now that we know that the table is a unit of production. So unless they can get dogs done in a reasonable amount of time, you're actually losing money the longer they stand at that table doing less dogs per day. So you've got to protect your revenue like you protect your children, right? All right. So either they conform to that, or you might say, you want to do 4 dogs a day. I need you off your table by noon or 1 o'clock because I've got somebody that's going to come in and work at that station for the afternoon shift. So that's sort of the quick answer because we only have a few minutes left, right? But Lisa, I'd be thrilled to help navigate that a little bit deeper for you. Sheena, I want to say thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I came to your seminar at Groom News, and it's already helped my business. Good job, Sheena. That's awesome. My audience and made up add-on packages, posted it right there. Check in, already gained from that. Great, excellent. Karen, will QuickBooks sync if changes are made in MoeGo? Does QuickBooks automatically update? Tech question, Brian?
Yeah, it will. Yep. And Karen, I'll send you some more info on
Oh,
that.
there's your answer. Okay,
Anybody,
great.
yep. And if anybody has any questions, happy to answer those.
We're gonna go rocket fast here real quick. Have you seen in the past, or would you recommend sharing marketing costs with groomers? We're finding it hard justifying for paying for 100% of $10,000 marketing if we keep only 50. Listen, it's the cost of doing business. I can tell you a way to run your business more efficiently, where the marketing makes sense, right? Again, if you're already starting out in a hole, paying too much for the money out part of that, then you're not going to have enough money in to pay for things like marketing, or money left to pay for things like marketing to drive more money in. You see, it's this wash, rinse, and repeat cycle that most businesses, maybe like yours, is just one notch off from being smooth and being profitable there. And I can help you with that. Michelle, thank you. Paragon is amazing. Been using it for years. I appreciate you for that. Karen, thank you again. Yeah, 15. I know it's going to be a battle between Michelle and Karen, because I think Michelle's had like 25. Karen, you got some making up to do. But no, I'm just teasing you. Thank you. Between the two of these employers, they put over 25 people through Paragon, so we must be doing something right. Sarman, I love all of your questions. Where are some successful talent acquisition strategies? Go to paragonpetschool.com under the employer resources section, and we've got a recruiting future groomers guide and lots of other free resources for you as well. Thank you, Rose. I appreciate the accolades. Sarman, I have to work with you. You've got so many awesome questions. So consider doing that. We're out of time.
Yep.
Brian, thank you.
Yeah, thanks,
I
Joe.
appreciate having a stage.
It was
Whew,
great.
I need
Yeah,
a
yeah.
nap.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining. We look forward to doing more of these in the near future. If you have any suggestions for any webinar topics, please shoot me an email. I'd love to hear your feedback as we continue to do more of these and evolve with this whole webinar experience here at MoeGo. So, Joe, thanks again. Really appreciate you. You're the
Well,
best.
you are very welcome, and I look forward to helping anybody anytime from this audience, or spread the word, right? Tell your friends, bring them along.